Tulsi Gabbard's part of the Trump transition team, and she is here. So, Tulsi, when you dissected, we should say that, Kamala Harris back in the good old days of the Democrat primary, how did you perceive her, and what about her told you that that was the way to get her to go down?
As you remember, Jesse, she was treated like with kid gloves by the mainstream propaganda media. She was treated with kid gloves, even by every other candidate that was on that debate stage. No one questioned her, challenged her, or called her out for the record as prosecutor that she claimed to be proud of. She talked every day about how she'd be a prosecutor president, but no one questioned her about what that record was and how that would translate if she were president. And I pointed out the hypocrisy. I pointed out the hypocrisy of how she would do one thing, and when the standard was held to herself, she did the exact opposite. We are seeing that opportunity again in this debate coming up tomorrow night for President Trump to do the very same thing. What Kamala Harris is saying, the lies that she is selling to the American people now, is the exact opposite of the record that she has had, frankly, as the incumbent in this race. She's been in the White House for the last 3.5 years. Almost 4 years, not President Trump. And our country's in a disastrous position as a result, both on domestic and foreign policy. So she's not to be underestimated because she is talented on a debate stage. There's no question about that. But she's going to have a tough time trying to defend this record that, quite frankly, from the view of the American people, is indefensible. When you observed her on the debate stage, what was it about her that created this aura where people were afraid to go after her? And what did you notice her strengths and weaknesses were? It's a good question. I saw and experienced a lot when I ran for president, but really that between the leaders of the DNC and the leaders of the mainstream propaganda media, the fix was in. They picked the few who they wanted voters to hear from, and for the rest of us, they tried to destroy us. But this was one of the frustrating things about being on that debate stage that still continues now is the mainstream propaganda media creates this political theater, and they take very lightly the serious choice that we have as voters. And so they have created this false premise that whoever wins this debate, therefore, is the candidate that deserves to be president. Being a great debater does not qualify a person to be president, but this is Kamala's goal, Jesse, and this is why she's locked herself in her hotel room, taking extreme acting lessons. She's got Hollywood advisors, a stage, the Hollywood lights, in the hopes that her friends at ABC and the propaganda media will declare her the winner, and that may be enough to trick voters into actually voting for her. I don't think the American people are going to fall for it. So the strategy was just go undercover for 3 weeks after the convention, put all the chips in one basket of the debate, and then rely on the media to manufacture a win by a few jazzy sound bites and zingers, and then say no more debates, and then just ride out early voting until November? Do you think she could pull that off? I know that that's exactly what she is trying to pull off. Her friends at ABC and the other mainstream propaganda media, they are doing their very best to help her. We've seen that over the last several weeks. The thing is that people in this country are struggling, and they're struggling with their cost of living, higher cost of groceries, gas, the crime in their streets, millions of illegal immigrants, tens of millions crossing our borders. There are very real issues and challenges that are happening today directly because of Kamala Harris and her record. And that's the seriousness with which they are treating this debate, to actually learn the truth about Kamala Harris. President Trump knows her record. He obviously has a record of success that he can stand on. And he's going to challenge Kamala Harris on exactly that and keep reminding voters who she really is, not the actor that she will present herself to be tomorrow night. When you're there tomorrow night, you're advising Trump with debate prep, or they're calling it policy discussions. What do you tell him? What do you say? This is what gets under her skin. This is where I would go. What do you say? You know, he's not focused on trying to get under her skin. He really is focused on the issues that matter most to the American people. President Trump is in great spirits. He is looking forward to this debate. You can imagine it's frustrating for any of us to watch and see the lies that are being sold about Kamala Harris and how much she's getting a free pass. And it's coming at a cost to the voters and the American people. So that's who Trump is focused on speaking to them, telling them the truth about Kamala Harris. so that they can make the best informed decision about who the strong leader is we need for our country now. And obviously, I believe Donald Trump is the best hope for us to have a better future.
All right, Tulsi, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jess.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.